Scott Blakey. They know me as Shantibaba, and I am the leader of a series of companies, and we have up there you can see that we have Shiva Shop, CBD Crew, Mr. Nice Seedbank, and Dr. Nice. There are a range of different products nowadays for different purposes. But all of this story began with basically the production in Washington State. Some 4 years ago, we received a license to do both recreational and CBD varieties in America. And we followed that with basically our hemp license in Oregon and Colorado, where we do the production of a large amount of CBD each year. We basically became our own producer and our own manufacturer and own developer because we found in this industry it was very difficult to rely on any one company doing a specific job because the industry is very new. So we had been the genetic innovators for many years, and we've been using, this is a plant up here that we developed for external use in CBD cultivation production in Washington and Colorado. That is, 18% CBD and under the 0.3% THC, which is how they define industrial hemp there. So we basically had all the genetic material, and we couldn't do it in Europe in the last 10 years legally, so we went to America basically. And now we have quite some production of large amounts of material, of our own material that we have genetically selected, all natural selection. We don't do any manipulation of genetics or any tissue culture or anything. It's just a standard straight selection after laboratory testing of material that has high terpene content, high CBD content, and very low THC content in the majority of our work. So we produce all of our material, and we've developed our genetic material. So we're able now to, with confidence, start to produce a series of lines of products that have... now, you can see that, obviously, we're at this stage at the moment. Right at this moment, we just finished harvesting, and I don't know if people are interested in that side of things, but the logistics of 100 tons of drying material is quite substantial. It's probably about as big as the whole exhibition in vertical. So, there's a lot of things about the production that we learned along the way. Just being enthusiastic and thinking that we could do everything ourselves, we had some serious lessons as well, and we lost a lot of things for learning the lessons that we know today. So after quite some years, we've got the technology down, the quickness of drying and then separating, and I think in the Czech Republic, in Poland, Croatia, they've been doing this for quite some time, but they never, they treat the material very differently. It's a very commercial, agricultural type of material. We're still treating it a little bit like it needs to be cured with the terpenes kept intact, the CBD kept intact, and then we strip it carefully over a period of time, usually after 3 months of drying, and we harvest terpenes, we harvest our CBD, we harvest all the other things that we're doing. Basically, these are just some photos of our indoor production as well, which we have going all year round in the Washington State. There we're allowed to make our full medicine. We are allowed to use THC and high CBD varieties, and with that we make extractions, and we're allowed to sell within the state of Washington. And Washington and Colorado is another state that has allowed us to do both THC and CBD products. The rest of America is still opening up at different stages, like California, like Oregon, and all the other states. But Europe is still a little bit behind when it comes to this commercial extraction, which is starting to come into play. It's actually what most of the CBD cannabis has been grown for. It's not for using it like the fad at the moment, where you can buy CBD flowers in Switzerland or in Germany or in France in under 0.2 with a few percent of CBD. This is not going to be adequate for users in a period of time because it's very low percentage. You need to extract the material to get over 20% to start to have an effect on the person. So that's why we went into using all of our CBD cultivated material in a extraction form. You can see that the laws are very different. They've already changed since I put this up, but basically now, I mean, we developed a series of products, and all of a sudden, edible products now have to be in a much lower dosage. You know, in Holland now, you can't put a product on that's has to be 0.05% THC in it to be able to legally put it on the shelves. So this is just for the allowance of cultivation material. This is not the end products. And you can see it's already very low, and it's very difficult, even as a geneticist and a breeder, to find seed varieties. The only way we can do this is with cloning and tissue culture. So the industry has got a lot of learning curves to go through still before everything's working properly and uniform, you know. We get a certification in America because our plant is under 0.3% THC. It's the only requirement that we need. Genetic material doesn't have to be on a list of different strains that are registered in the European community. For example, there's about 120 that are allowed in the European community, and if you're not in that and under 0.3, with pesticide, insecticide, all of those tests done, then you actually can't use the material. So there's a very big difference in the biodiversity of hemp from America to the rest of European countries. For me, as a breeder, we find the biggest, and we come from the whole plant extraction market, where we believe that high terpene, high CBD, and actually a little bit of THC is a necessary combination. How the plant actually has the material on it is really how we should be using it. However, for legal reasons, we're not allowed to use one element, the THC, at the moment, and that inhibits us making a full package of a product, but we make a legal product at this moment in time. So that's the measure of our terpene quantity on our particular clone plant that we've been using, the therapy, the recovery, and the yummy. They're developed by us, and we have over 40 odd measurable terpenes. You know, this was done at the Colorado University, as distinct from, say, the industrial stuff in Europe, which is phenol, which is, you know, a handful of terpenes in very low concentration. Our argument still is that we haven't really done all the scientific work that we need to do to understand why terpene is so important, but usually because they're in such a small quantity, and you have to do a large amount of extraction to be able to understand what is actually held on your plants. This hasn't really been sort of discovered properly at the moment, and I think this is the next major line of work that we have to do. How terpenes are working with cannabinoids and vice versa. So there's a hell of a lot of different reasoning behind things, and you can read up there that the reason we went to America was for some of those major reasons. We can make our product, at least half of our product, and it means that we have some freedom to move there with the varieties that we've been producing. I can't really read that so well, but I think high terpene profile possible. Yeah. Well, I think I've covered most of those things there, but we're actually, until further notice, we're still making our cloned crop as distinct from a seed crop, which most people in the European community still buying in seed, registered seed varieties to make their seed crops. And our argument is that varies still too much, and it is very low in terpene profiling, and it's actually an incomplete process still to be making too many different type of dietary supplements and medical benefiting supplements from. It's definitely adequate in other reasoning, other cosmetic products and stuff like that, maybe some food products. Obviously, there's the European community. That's just a sample of some of the varieties that you must, you have to buy the seed from registered seed vendor and then grow those varieties. As distinct, no. So now we get into the production of the material, the base material, the extraction material, and the GMP, I think it's GMP and FDA approved. In America, we have, once we have had tested controlled all of our products on the field, we get a rating. As long as we're under 0.3% THC, everything is allowed to be extracted. And after that, our extraction is then retested, and we have to pass pesticide, insecticide, heavy metal, cannabinoid limits before it is used in the base product. At the moment, there are not many regulations in European community. People are trading in isolate CBD material. Not all of it is well policed and well certified and well tested. So it's a beginning market in Europe, but there's a long way to go to regulate this market, you know. And America, and I'm sure Canada, will be leading the way very soon with these regulations, because it's no longer good enough for a hemp farmer to become a hemp extractor, a CBD extractor, and sell to pharmaceutical industry. Those days have gone, and what has to happen now is that a third party needs to come in and regulate a lot of the farmers. They have to make sure that they're clean, because putting dirty material into the market goes all the way down the food chain. So we really need to start to, hopefully we've been policing ourselves, but there's a lot of other people out there that need to stand in line, and we've done a few blind testing, and we've seen that there is definitely a need for some sort of union of farmers that regulates the content of the material. Sometimes it's not the fault of the farmers either, that the soils have been leached with chemicals, but we still can't put that into the CBD food chain, you know, and at the moment that's all getting in there, unfortunately. Yep, that's the company. Pretty happy company. We were the first companies. CBD Crew was actually a project that we put together in 2009. It was the first seed company that had bred in successfully in enriched amounts of CBD. So we actually bred down the THC and up on the CBD and stabilised that. And that's been used, and that was the initial reasoning to get into this market, to allow mothers and people who have never had access to CBD to be able to have access, even in countries where definitely there's still some problems with legal framework. And we began that, and you know, we've become very well known for that, because there's a hell of a lot of people in different countries that have had access to CBD now, and that is a one-to-one. All those seeds that we did were basically one-to-one, THC to CBD, which is what we still recommend to this day is needed. Minimum, you need sort of 7 to 10% of both cannabinoids on the plant, plus all the terpenes, to start to make your own extraction at home and feel like you got something going on. In the last few years, obviously, to stay alive and to find markets for our product, I began exporting all of our hemp products to Switzerland, because Switzerland has a 1% THC allowance, and of course under 0.3 in America, where it's a no-brainer to start to export to Switzerland. We made bags that are sold in the supermarket now. I think 25 Swiss francs for 3.5 grams of flour, is sold openly in petrol stations all over. There's a lot of other companies now doing the same thing. We pay a tobacco tax, 33%, and we're allowed to hang that in normal places where people never before were exposed to the material, now are exposed to it. So there's a lot more people having access to CBD material, and they don't have to go to coffee shops or anything like that anymore. So we obviously started to develop the vapor, which is 45 and above, 45% CBD, which we find is definitely helping people. We've had two and a half years of research in America. Obviously, we use THC and CBD in one-to-one there, and it works very well. But the initial product that we have now is around 46% CBD, and it's got no THC. We clean that off before we bring it over. You can see that's pretty much what it looks like coming out of our extracting machines. We've been making soft gel, 6% CBD, and we also make now in Europe a vegan capsule, which has the same material in it. So we identical. We just have different product names in America as distinct from the Rebound Dr. Nice product that we do here. We do a lot of tinctures. That's probably our biggest market at the moment. And funnily enough, we're doing a lot for the pet industry and rheumatoid arthritis. The veterinarians are doing a lot of research on animals at the moment. It's a bit faster moving than it is on human trials and less expensive. And so a lot of the people that we're dealing with at the moment have studies that are working with veterinarian material, and it's a very big market. It's worldwide. It's something huge, which people probably wouldn't believe the figures. So I don't know them anyway. But in Switzerland, we produced the first cigarette with the tobacco company that came out with the CBD cigarette. Yeah, it's a real package that's available at the petrol stations everywhere. You can buy that. You have to be over 18. I'm not sure why. I think it's just a tobacco law, because CBD is definitely... My children use CBD when they have headaches and stuff, so I'm not a 18-plus person on the CBD. We've also been developing, spent several years actually still, and haven't really finished the work yet on this CBD therapy. It is a variety that is in clone production all over in America, all over the place at the moment, and it's very high CBD, low THC ratio. It's around 10% THC and under 0.5 THC. So it's a 20 to 1, 30 to 1, 40 to 1 even, and this is what the farmers are still trying to get in seed form. At the moment, I don't believe anyone on the market has found and made a seed form low, high terpene, let me call it recreational hemp. It's high terpene and low THC. And I don't think anyone stabilised a seed in the world at the moment that comes under the category that they have to under 0.2. So I know the therapy is under 1% THC, but you can find it and clone it. And now it's available back in seed production. So we're still working on that one, but it's a very difficult project to take out naturally all of the THC. The plant still needs something on it, and it's been showing that, in the breeding work. Canada, obviously, is a big country at the moment. Everyone's very popular, and they seem to be pushing a lot of the rules of production at the moment, and a lot of countries are buying now from Canada, officially, through pharmacies. We've been supplying seeds to them for quite some time, from Tilray to Tweed to Aurora, and now we're seeing our varieties coming back. CBD Nordal can be bought in Germany in the pharmacy, which is supplied by Tilray, I think, and various things like that. So you see that eventually your material's getting used in the proper way, even whether it's owned or not owned. The right integrity of products will eventually rise to the surface. And at the moment, there's a hell of a lot of products out there. The girls are going to have a quick chat about it. And basically, we're trying to set by example what products should be used, what you're looking for, how you should be using them, and what material is basically being put into the material that you're using, because there's no traceable, there's no accountability in this industry at this moment. Only very few companies are doing that. Some of the companies that are beginning, they're just buying in isolate and mixing it up at home and adding terpene. There's no control. This needs to be a very regulated industry. You know, even for ourselves, we'd be happy to have a department come in and check all of those things, because the end user is depending very heavily on the content being correct that's written on the back of labelling. And I did a blind test, and I can tell you that it's a very, very hard industry to pick a starting point of a correct product. And it needs to become much better, you know, for people to find the right product, first of all, and also gain momentum with CBD. It's not, and CBD products. So we do our own, everything we've been doing basically is controlling the fields, the genetics, the greenhouses, the mother plants, the clones, and making products now. And I suppose, would you like to take over a little bit about how we've talked about that a little bit? But I think you can see that we do all the laboratory testing for our own products. We know what we're making. We do the laboratory testing after. And if you don't know what you're making, it's very hard to be selling a product that says 6% or 3% or whatever it is. Yeah, you click. So for me, I'll let the girls talk about this a little bit, but you can see that we make sure that we know what we're doing with all of the material, from our recreational seeds to our CBD seeds and all the product lines that we're doing. At the moment, I don't think that is regulated enough, and I hope the girls will explain a little bit of how... I just can stop at this one for a second. Just 27% analysis in America. You can go to laboratories now that have a favourable outcome if you pay the right money. Now, that's not a laboratory in my eyes anymore. And now even that is confusing the people who are getting tested. So there needs to be designated laboratories. They have to be designated. Every step of the way needs to have a point of reference from a particular department, because people will find a way to bend the rules always, you know, and that looks so impressive, but I mean, it's really not the truth. It's around 19%, our highest, but that's what some people are getting away with. You can flick it now. Yeah, we've basically show everything that's inside our material, and we've got everything is on the websites. You can review whatever you need to review, and if you have questions after, I would be more than happy to answer, but I think we're definitely past that. Obviously, Howard, we're all sitting here because of his memory, and he really wanted to do something in the medical fraternity, and I think he'd be proud. I think Dennis Barone would be proud of us as well at the moment, and I hope certainly that many other people will join. But I'll pass you over to Liz now. Shall I? And let you go.
Hi. Now Scott has explained a little bit about how we produce everything and a little bit why we do what we do. Now with our products, a lot of people ask for CBD isolates, which are great if you are looking for something to add to an oil, or for dabbing, or for people who are interested in that. But when we make products, we focus on not isolating just the CBD. We want to have all the other cannabinoids. We want to have all the other terpenes. So the only thing that we have agreed to extract away from our products is the THC, just for legal reasons, even though personally we know that we need the THC, we need more of it. But due to the laws, we really can't do anything about that. So we have to play along for now. As you see, Project CBD is one of the better web pages to get real CBD information, unbiased. And they are very concerned about removing all the things. We need to have the synergy of the plants. It's hard to copy that in a laboratory. One of the problems is when you do scientific science, you use only one component at a time. It's like an orange. If you would only do research on the CBD, on the vitamin C of the orange, but the whole orange has much more to offer than just vitamin C. And that's the same with the plant. We can take out the CBD, but you're missing the whole synergy of the plant. So we choose to not work much with isolates of that reason. But again, isolates have its use as well, but not for us. Why full flower extract? A lot of people say, oh, we have full spectrum. But full spectrum doesn't really mean anything other than you have everything what's in that specific plant. But if that specific plant don't really have too many terpenes or too many cannabinoids, you will still have a full spectrum extract, but it's very little. The full spectrum from a plant that has 7 terpenes and full spectrum of a plant that have 42 terpenes, it's 2 very different results, but they're both full spectrum from the basic of your raw material. So it's always, even if it says these things on the label, you have to always ask, can I please see the lab results? Because I want to know what does that mean? How many? It doesn't say how many or how much. It just said that they used everything that's in the plant. So it can be quite. It's good marketing, you could say, but it doesn't really say that much in reality about your products. As you see, even in our vape pens and everything, we try to include as much of the plant that's possible. And we select the plants that have the broadest that we could find. We still haven't found anything that has more. And of course, since we come from the cannabis part, we have mostly worked with THC. And then when we could breathe in the CBD, and we work with CBD Crew with terminally ill people. It's no like slight anxiety, but like really seriously ill people. And we always say to them that if you can, get products that have both THC and CBD and all the other cannabinoids. It's just stronger, it's more effective. We can't argue on that. The only reason why we don't sell these products are due to the law. We're just not allowed to do it. So hopefully in the future we will have more of a broader spectrum of limits on the THC so that we can actually hide it a little bit. Even if we could just get 2-3% THC in, which is not much and won't make you hilariously stoned, but it will have an enormous benefit for anything that you're trying to treat. So it's a little sad that we're not there yet, but hopefully we'll get there, and then we will have products ready.
You make that with medicine.
Yes. So, and that's why we also say when people contact us that are terminally ill, we advise them to buy seeds, grow their own plants. We can only supply them with good quality CBD products, but if you really want something powerful, especially people contact us with cancer and these very serious illnesses, CBD only isn't really what you're looking for. You want THC. Either you can get a pure THC oil or you can add then either crystals or a CBD tincture, but you want the THC as well. And then it's, if you can grow, just grow. And we even say to people, start growing now. You're going to meet somebody who needs that oil eventually. It's better to have it in your freezer for the day somebody needs it, because it takes 4 or 5 months to get that product done. So when somebody you love needs that product, it's nice to already have it. So for everybody who can grow, they should already grow and make a batch and keep in the freezer. It lasts forever. So like us, yeah. Yeah, and then we talk about what to look for in a CBD product, because before we even made this CBD line, we only had the seeds, and so many would contact us and like, I have this brand and have this brand, what is it? Can you help me? Is this a good brand? And we had no way of saying that before we tried it or sent it to the laboratory. So we made these guidelines for people to follow when they contact a seller. First of all, lab results. In theory, the lab results should be on their webpage and not some written, their own like cake with like lead numbers. You want the actual lab result from a certified lab. And if they don't have it on the webpage, you should send them a mail, ask for it. If they don't have it, move to the next brand. If a company can't provide the lab results of their oil or a seller, that's not the oil you want. You need another oil. And also ask for terpene profile. Ask if they have anything. If they don't know these things, in theory, go to the next brand, find a new brand. Come to our brand, any brand, but as long as they have these things available, because it's important. I've met horrible, like one lady tried to sell me an oil on Facebook, and I asked, how many % CBD do you have in this oil? And she answered me, 230%. I was like, are you sure you have 230% CBD in these products? Like, yes. And she was from one of these multi-marketing companies that just sell you like Mary Kay Cosmetics or Herbalife just for CBD. And they give their people zero information. They give this guide video that says that their product had over 140 cannabinoids. I got some of this oil and I sent it to the lab results, and it had 4. So they use all this. It's very clever marketing, and they just present the whole, like, oh, the whole plant. But that doesn't mean you have it. No cannabis plant have all the 140 cannabinoids. So nobody can have that. So, so always ask, just make sure they're not bullshitting you, because there's a lot of people that just don't, I mean, they want the best. They want to sell CBD because they know it will help. But if they haven't even, can do basic percentage calculation, we have a problem. We need more serious vendors, because there's seriously ill people contacting them, and they deserve to get a serious answer back. So it's very important. So, and also try to make sure, especially if you're going to use a lot of it internal, try to make sure it's organic, or at least read the labels. Try to find out, like, if there's names you have no idea what that is, try to avoid the product. That's with everything you buy in theory, not just CBD. So, do I have everything? I think, yeah. Just be like, don't be afraid to ask the supplier, because they should have all of this, and it should be easy. They should say, yes, 2 seconds, and I'll send it to you. If it's trouble getting that, then move on to the next product. It's really not the product you want. Okay, now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, and we'll talk a little bit about the range of products that we have.
Hello. So, as you know, we are started up as CBD Crew. So we made genetics for people to be able to grow their medicine themselves, as they have explained here already. But what we realized was that the market was not there for get a high-quality CBD product that you can use without growing your own. So we started Shifa Shop, which is kind of an umbrella of all the companies. We have CBD Crew, Mr. Nice, Dr. Nice, and Shifa, where Scott is the producer of all our products. We make oil, that is our base, or what we started with, what's really helping people. So what she's talking about, you should see analysis and these reports of terpenes. What we really see on our product is when you try it, you taste the difference compared to many other products. You really taste the terpenes and how we make that it is a very clean product. So we started with that with very good success. But for people like to ingest it differently, so some prefer to take an oil. Somebody hated the taste, so we decided to put them in capsules. So you get a bigger dosage. You can start to take 1 capsule a day, and yeah, and also it looks more like a medicine. So it's easier to start to introduce to your grandmother that maybe need it, but she doesn't like the cannabis part of it. And also the vape side of it. So we created a very high concentrated CBD vape. Also, again, when you taste it, it has a totally different taste than most of the hemp product you find around. And the reason is that we use mostly the flower, and we extract the crystals. So I urge you all to come by our stand and try our product. We have also creams. We will develop to more of cosmetic products. Again, only for skin health or for pain-related issues. So we have a little bit for everybody, and we try to kind of put it in one place here in Europe, and that's Shifa Shop. So info@shifashop.com. You can come and get everything, basically. Seeds, vape, creams, and capsules. And education. We have a lot of experience, we have a lot of knowledge, and we're very happy to share everything with everybody.
And to get new. Somebody has to share it.
Also, and regarding that, we get a lot of testimonials from people, which is the most important reason why we started also, is that people came to us and said that, wow, your product really makes a difference in my daily life. We have several with high anxiety for many, many years, even just after, I would say, a week using our product, changing their daily life of I can actually enter the store, buy my own food without having a deep anxiety attack. And those little things that we don't think about if you don't have those issues makes a big difference. But also for recreational use, it's really helped me. I'm a stoner, so I prefer to smoke. And these products help me if you get maybe nervous or feel that it's too much. Public speaking, I took a little drop before. So we really try to give to everybody an easy solution, because we know that not everybody can grow their own. Even though we wish THC was a part of our product, which it is in America. So we do have it in America. Like we say, we make half of the medicine for the European market, and the other half goes under the radar, you can say. So Shifa Shop is the umbrella of Dr. Nice, Mr. Nice, and Shifa. So anything you need, and CBD Crew, of course. We're happy to.
Yeah.
CBD, both of them.
Yeah, I've got to offer anyone who comes past, of course, because we're not doctors. We're informed, scientific-based biology, if anything. Our major information and data is coming from individual testimonies. We offer anyone who wants to try our products to come, and we swap it for a testimonial, because at the moment, one by one, we're gathering so much information, and the girls have really have got a lot of information from specific illnesses to very rare illnesses that I've never heard of before, and we've helped. We've always offered the beginning of where to get the product to try. And so we're always willing to do that. So if anyone you know would like to begin on a product that we believe is of the highest quality that they should be beginning on, rather than try to find something in this market which is very confusing at this moment in time, and it's very hard to advise people, to tell you the truth, because if you never knew anything about this industry and you walked into this big expo and you see all of the things on display, maybe packaging is something that would come to mind to pick a product. It's very difficult. If you're comparing milligrams and grams, if you're doing all the research and believing what is written on the back of the pack, I would suggest that would be the very first thing. But most of that at this moment is not regulated. So just be careful with everything that you do, and do the education before you start buying material, or get some advice from different online talk places where they make a conversation with different illnesses, and see what's going on. But I think we're coming to the end of our thing, so I'll just leave a couple of minutes in case there's any questions out there. I expect we have probably 2 or 3 questions if you'd like to ask anything. Yes.
Hello.
Can you, I suppose...
Hello. Yeah. It is on.
Dobrý den, já se jmenuji Zdeněk Majzlík. Mám prosbu, chtěl bych vědět, jestli máte nějakou...
We need a translator, yeah.
We had one before, I think he just escaped.
Anybody? Volunteer? Translate? Perfect. Perfect. Oh, there's also...
Jestli má nějakou zkušenost vlastní s rozdílem účinnosti mezi vyváženým a rozdílným obsahem THC, CBD, že já vlastně mám tu zkušenost.
We'll fix it. Oh, okay, yes.
Tak co teď? Aha. Mám prosbu. Chtěl bych vědět, jestli máte vlastní zkušenost nějakou mezi účinností v vyváženém poměru THC, CBD a nebo v rozdílném. Já mám tu zkušenost, pěstuji konopí pro svoji nemocnou dceru, ta má progresivní formu roztroušené sklerózy. A když jsem zkusil konopí, které mělo vysoké CBD, nebo lépe řečeno vyvážené CBD a THC, funguje to perfektně. Ale když byl tam nějaký rozdíl v THC, ať už vyšší nebo nižší, tak ta účinnost se snižovala. Jestli máte podobné zkušenosti. Děkuju.
So I understood. Thank you, Lucas. So I understand the question was basically asking the one-to-one level of THC to CBD in the use of MS, I believe, is the illness. Is working very well. As soon as it goes down, it's not working as well, which is a perfect example of what we're only making half a medicine. This is a
but I would also say, like some CBD, if you only use CBD and not have the full spectrum, it has a different effect as well. Of course, the one-to-one CBD THC is very important. We won't deny that, but I see, for example, somebody who has a 20% CBD product with only CBD does not have the same effect as our 3% CBD because we have a full spectrum of other cannabinoids. So you have other cannabinoids and other terpenes, where terpenes and the smell also has a medical effect. So of course, you can't go on the market and buy the one-to-one CBD THC. So that's why it's important that you research and maybe try products. So if you try a CBD product that doesn't work for you, it might be that it's another brand that works for you. So that comes again with the terpene combination. So maybe our terpene combination doesn't work so well for another person as it worked for the next one. So again, the terpenes and the cannabinoid combination is very important. So you might find a CBD-only product that work also well. But one-to-one, the CBD Crew, if you can have the possibility to grow yourself, I think that's definitely one of the better ratios. Even 2-to-1. So 2 CBD, 1 THC, because you don't necessarily want to be high every day, you know, but you still want to take your medicine. So if you have the possibility to grow, definitely 2-to-1 or 1-to-1. Yes.
Can I ask you, do you make capsules? Do you make capsules of the product for your hair?
Já ročně pro ní musím vyrobit 2200 jointů a mimo to ještě dělám 1 kilogram drceného konopí jako drť, která se přidává do jídla. Protože ona má ochrnuté jak střevní, tak dýchací svaly a tím pádem tam je ten rozdíl, že například ten joint, ten jí pomůže, aby mohla dobře dýchat, ale už jí nepomůže v tom, aby mohla dobře vyměšovat. A když ona si přidává to konopí do jídla, tak to jí zase pomáhá, aby mohla vyměšovat. Že my jsme tam měli už i takovou situaci, že ji dvakrát museli odvést na jednotku intenzivní péče, protože měla natolik ucpané střeva, že jí hrozilo roztržení střev. Takže z toho důvodu to dělám tímto způsobem. A zajímavé ale je, ona vykouří denně 6 jointů a po každém jídle musí, potom při probruzení, po každém jídle a potom před spaním. A na ní není vidět ani náznak toho, že by měla že by to na ní mělo psychoaktivní účinky. To světí, to tam prostě není.
Yeah. I understood. I caught. Yeah, I'm sorry for the issue your daughter has, but the thing is, it's a very extreme issue. She really needs a high THC and a high CBD. That kind of medicine we do make in America, and it's available at a constant dose. So you use it in the vapor pen or you use it in the oil, 20% and 20%, both THC and CBD. You can maintain a very good level of life with that. But at the moment, you don't know what you're giving all the time. And this is our argument now. Where do you begin and how do you make it constant and how do you make the dose in an increment that people can use for their different illnesses? Because you're now the doctor. You actually have to be the doctor. It's too new, this field, for even doctors to be able to understand. But I appreciate it, and good luck with everything. Yes. Yeah, I think you...
Do we still have some time?
Yeah, we're ready.
Can I just ask, because I'm familiar with Mr. Meislich's daughter story, and I was doing an interview with her, and she said once that for her it's better when she smokes than vapes. Can you explain why is that vaping is working on some people and smoking on others, please?
The thing with when you smoke, you get instant relief. So that's why you feel it. But I would really, we advise people to smoke when they feel pain because you get the instant relief, but to eat it in small amounts during both morning. You have to do morning, midday and evening, and then you will maintain because you get a lot more cannabinoids into your system by eating it.
It's a slow release.
Yes.
So it goes into the blood system,
yeah,
and smoking it goes into
yeah.
the air system.
Yeah.
So the air system is very quick to pass over from from the lungs into the blood system. That's a very quick. But eating it will keep the controlled dose going during the day, and you need. Yeah, and you actually need to saturate your body with the CBD content, and then your body will expel what it doesn't need, and the rest will be used. To get to that level, you have to play with the dosing, and that's the most difficult part to this day. Even no one can answer that, I'm afraid.
And also
Thank you.
with multiple sclerosis, diet is very important.
Yeah, and we are all different. So some prefer smoking, some prefer
We have to go to another question.
yeah.
Yes, sir. I think maybe we have last question.
When I was at Cultivar Hanfmesse last year, Dr. Schultz claimed that the human body can only absorb up to 10% CBD. From my experience with customers, many claim that higher percentages work better for them. Do you feel it's maybe a psychological thing, or what's your comment on this, feelings on this?
Again, I think that's very individual, because I had a client that tried our 6% and our 3%, and she came back to me and asking, is the 3% stronger than your 6%? And I say, no, it's the opposite. And she's, that's strange, because the 6% does nothing for me, while the 3% works great. So for some people, they probably can't take as much as the 10%, for example, while other people do. So I think it's very individual. We can't really say exactly. And that comes to the medicine. You really have to try out. So if something doesn't work for you, that works for somebody else, try another brand or try another way to ingest it.
Thank you very much.
So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Blakey, Shantibaba.